Well, okay, so this is very different. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the True Talk podcast, the place where we talk and the talk is true. Tonight's a little bit different. I'm going to be having a discussion with my guest, Hoyt Kwaku Timmons. It is right. Do you know
With the
what?
T, with the T at the end, Timmons. Yep.
With the T. I keep saying Simmons, but it's Timmons.
Yeah,
I know it's
but
Timmons.
everybody does that. Everybody says Simmons. I think it's such an awkward name. Most people just have either one or the other. They either have an odd first name or an odd last name.
Yeah.
I have both.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's okay. People do it all the time. It's cool.
But it's good. It's cool. It's all good. So obviously, so I'm First Lady Chidi, namaste, guys. And so this evening, myself and Hoyt are going to be talking about the law of attraction, and we're going to be talking about how everything is energy. I just want to start off by saying that the law of attraction is something that is very big in my life. Over the years, I've got to learn about it more and more, and I know that everything that what I do, what I think, I become, and what I feel, I attract. So I've become very aware and very vigilant of that. And in terms of energy is going to be a big one. Me and Hoyt had a bit of a discussion last night. Energy is going to be a big one. But before we even go into anything, I made the biggest mistake, and I did not say this is season 2, episode 14. So episode 14. So Hoyt,
Congrats.
I'm going to come over to you. I want you to tell me what are your thoughts on the law of attraction.
Okay, so since I'm a guest on the True Talk podcast platform, if anybody didn't catch last week's episode, my name is Hoyt Kwaku Timmons, pronounced Kwaku as well. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I host the No Truths Barred podcast, and had a great bill with the True Talk podcast. So anywhere you're at, if you're in London, Wales, wherever, make sure you subscribe to their YouTube channel. Make sure you listen to them. They have one of the best podcasts out. So it's really dope, and I'm just honored, and it's a privilege to be here as well. So definitely thank you for having me on. So with the law of attraction, I think that it's not really an alien concept. I think it's kind of novel to us because we live in a paradigm of materialism. So we're all in the paradigm of what can make money, what can I touch, what can I buy, what can I consume. But when you look at the ancient societies way before us, for example, with the Egyptians, a guy named Wayne Chandler, he wrote a book called Ancient Future. And one of the things he talked about in there was the 7 principles of Tahuti. Tahuti is the god of writing, knowledge, etc. in ancient Egypt. And one of the very first axiom, the very first thing that they point out is the law or the axiom of mentalism. All is mind. Everything is created from thought, the collective consciousness of the universe. And so this is a concept that's been there. And our ancient ancestors knew about things like law of attraction, about speaking forth your destiny, about the power of the word when it comes to the art of creation. And so for me, I feel like the law of attraction is basically a return to what our ancestors practiced that we've been disassociated with for so long. So for me, the law of attraction is a real thing. In 2014, I said I wanted to start a podcast. I had it in my mind. I had it here. I had a lot of delays along the way, but I said, I'm going to do it. And then the other thing I wrote down, this was like back in 2017, I said, I will do a podcast. This is going to freak you out. I will do a podcast with another platform outside of the United States. So this is legitimately, I attracted you guys into my universe, and it's crazy that this is actually happening because this is one of the things that I set forth to do. Now, I've seen evidence of that law in other areas of my life. For example, with things I wanted to do academically, when I was a teenager and when I was in my early 20s, I did a lot of independent research. And I said, hey, I would love to start doing lectures. Literally, and I wrote that down. I did a lecture at, I did two lectures, two different subjects, but I lectured on them at two different community colleges in the area. I did one just kind of like at a community event as well. And then I think, what was the other one? Well, I don't count that one because that was like a radio thing that kind of went, But anyway, essentially, I saw myself doing this, and it was something that I wanted to come to fruition. And like I said, it's real. But see, because we live in this culture where we make spirit and materialism mutually exclusive, and we have everything diametrically opposed, you would be called crazy by skeptics that if you inculcate or if you believe in the law of attraction, because we're so focused on like the Hellenistic or the Greek concept of logic, and that's this kind of Western Eurocentric way of looking at life. Whereas when you look at African cultures where we come from, they had hard sciences, but they also understood things like the pineal gland, which we talked about last night when we were chopping it up as well. And so for me, it's a very real thing. And I write down my affirmations daily. Another thing, really quick, I'm going to pass the mic back, is in the laws of Tahuti, because each principle has a breakdown of 7 sub-principles. One of the other principles in the law of mentalism is that you should also invite positive and healthy people into your life. And then another part of that is it's a cycle of 21 days to make that affirmation stick in your subconscious as well.
Yes. Yes, 100%. I totally agree. And I think this is where I'm going to bring energy into it. Like, I believe in the notion that everything is energy. The way we think, the way we move, the decisions that we make is all based on energy. And I just like yourself, this podcast is started because of an energy that was created. And it was just a thought that was put out there. And it all came together at the correct time. I always said, I'm going to build a platform. It's going to be with like-minded souls, not necessarily, we're all going to be individual, but we're all going to be able to connect, and it's all going to be about frequency and good energy and being able to, create with each other. And it was like, it wasn't until we went into the first lockdown, it all just kind of just manifested so quickly. And so I believe that it happened at the correct time. And then, when you were talking about the pineal gland, the law of attraction, I know has been working for me since I was very small. I was the type of child, if I saw it in my mind, it was going to happen. And there was nothing that was ever going to stop it. And I used to always write things down. I've always been writing since I was very small. And it wasn't until I sort of, I got older and I understood the power of words. But words, they're like spells. And I think I've always thought that's why they call it spelling, because words are spells. But when you write words down on a piece of paper, oh my God, the power and the energy that comes from that piece of paper, just by putting a thought in writing, I think is so important. That's why I write down my affirmations. And I speak my affirmations to myself, whether I'm looking in a mirror, I might write them down on a piece of paper, stick them to my mirror and say them to myself and say them out loud. But when I am writing my affirmations, like when I first started doing affirmations, I was just very vague, and I just used to pull affirmations from online or from a book. But now I'm very specific. I'm a lot more specific about what I want. And also as well, when it comes to the law of attraction, I was having a discussion yesterday with a friend of mine, and we were saying that, a lot of people use the law of attraction to attract material things.
Yeah.
Whilst that's all well and good, we have to remember, I read a lot of books by Dalai Lama. The Art of Happiness is one book that is really dear to my heart. And the art of happiness is not money or possessions or, wealth. It is not that. And I think sometimes when people are using the law of attraction, yes, we can attract money. Yes, we can attract, wealth and the big house and the expensive car. We can do that. It's easy. Anything that you think about in your mind, it can come to you, as long as you obviously put the work in. But I just my question is with me, abundance means love. If I have love in abundance, then anything else that I want I'm going to attract it. I'm going to become a magnet to good things, things that will help me progress, things that will issue me like a sense of freedom. For me, the wealth factor, the abundance factor is freedom. It's not because I want the latest, the latest car, or the latest, to be a part of the latest trend, or to have shiny things. That things, like, I believe that me as an energy, our light, our shiny things are within. My light shines enough. So I don't have to possess things in order to make them shine, if that makes sense. I would rather have the physical, the physical energy of love, the emotional energy of love, the spiritual energy of love. I would choose that way more than I would choose materialistic things, because we're born, we live, and we die. What we do in between the time that we're born and we die, that's what is important. And when we pass over, I don't know what people believe in or whatever, when we pass over and we go to a higher place, we can't take all our shit with us. You can't take your car with you. Do you get me? The universe ain't gonna say, yeah, you and your chain come along. You and your rollie come along. That's not how it works.
Wow.
Yes, it's nice to have. It's nice to have nice things, but what about family? What about love? What about empathy? What about helping people? What about making a difference in the world, so that when you leave your legacy, people can say, do you know what? That person stood for something, and they stood for love. I would rather stand for love over money any day. And if I made a lot of money, let me rephrase, when I make a lot of money, because I make money, but when I make a lot of money, I'm going to give back. And I'm going to put that into good things. I'm not going to waste it, because I just don't believe in that. But that's just my personal beliefs.
Yeah, and you touched on a very valid point. It's funny that when we think about the law of attraction, right, everything is synonymous with what are the material items that we can accumulate. And I think this problem, I think the quagmire that we're in as a species is that we come from this ancient hunter-gatherer past where everything was egalitarian. Everything was about the symbiotic relationship that we have with nature. Everything was about sharing and community. And then around about 11,000 years ago, before the Common Era, we make this shift into farming. And with farming comes, I can accumulate surplus food materials. Then political hierarchies can form. And then it's like, well, my bloodline has accumulated this amount of livestock or whatever in these very early rudimentary settlements. I want to pass that down. I don't want nobody to take what I have. And you even look at, we love to revere these pharaohs, and we love to revere people like Shaka Zulu, right? But you look at all of these kings, and not just in Africa, not just Mansa Musa or Shaka Zulu or any of these people, but even in Europe, it's this thing of when the king dies, he takes all of his gold and possessions and puts it in his tomb to take it with him into the afterlife. And for a long time, I used to revere that. But now that I think about it, we can kind of romanticize the past, but it's like these people were just as delusional as we are now, to think that I can cross over into this non-corporeal realm, this different dimension, whatever it is, and I can take these items with me. And I think that's what keeps us grounded in the id. Like Abraham Maslow talked about the hierarchy of needs and, self-actualizations at the top. And I think what keeps us grounded in the id is just this sycophantic relationship we have with materialism, chasing the Joneses. And so for me, I'm in the same lane as you. When I look at for the law of attraction, this is what I look at. I think I read it's a 1.4 trillion chance that I could exist as a human. So that's exceptionally rare. And my question is, one, how do I manifest my best self, my higher self, and still have control of my ego? Because you do need your ego at times to navigate through this life, because I spoke to a friend of mine and we were talking about that. But what can I do to be of service to others? And so one thing I've been thinking about right now is the concept of service. Knowledge, information, podcasting. What am I doing that's of service to my fellow human? Because ultimately, beyond the gold, beyond the fiat currency that controls the world and all this stuff, beyond all of these things that we've been inundated by, we've been inculcated the value and praise, what's left, as you pointed out, is how did I treat other human beings? What mark did I leave? What was my influence? How did I love people? And what I always tell people, like I have a lot of friends where they're in the to being pro-Black, Black power, et cetera, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I say, where it starts. How do you treat the people immediately around you when you're talking about Black people and Black power, et cetera? And so for me, the law of attraction, the way I use it in ways that's going to manifest higher versions of myself. But not only that, it's putting me in a position of service, because the epiphany that I had recently is that I'm here to be a vessel. I don't know in what capacity yet, but I pray on it. I meditate about it. And that's what I ask the universe to lead me to. Lead me to my truth.
Yes.
Now,
I think we touched on that last night, didn't we? And I said that you've got an energy about you. I feel like that you're here to give a message. Part of your sole purpose is to give a message, because you hold a lot of information, and you can guide people. And I think if the way that you're doing it by going on these platforms and building a platform also as well, it's filtering out the information. I always say to people, when you're speaking, even if you feel like nobody is listening, still continue to speak, because your message is getting across to someone. I use my platform. I use Instagram as a platform to post. I spam Instagram on a daily with my quote. Yeah, I've got there's a format that I use where I post a quote, like it's like an inspirational quote. Then I post like a photo of myself to keep things flowing. And then I will post something, that's quite deep and quite serious. And if I can help just at least one person, or if that resonates with one person, I am winning. And that's how I feel. I'm gonna, do you know what I'm gonna do? Like, I ain't good at all this podcast hosting, because the host's sticky. That's Sticky's job, So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna quickly just go through the comments. DJ Sticky Fingers is saying, okay, so we've got DJ Sticky Fingers, we got Peely,
what's up?
We got Brina, we got DJ Empress. Sending love to you all, and anyone else is there. I haven't even gone through them yet, but Vicky is saying, when Hoyt speaks, I listen. DJ Empress says, good evening. Hey, Stickalicious. DJ Empress is telling Sticky, best place for you, Sticky. I don't have to zoom out of the screen today, so the love is there. The love is definitely there. Peely's saying that she's good. DJ Empress says, yes, Chids, true words. Healy says, right, Chids. Kim, Bottled Heaven, said, yes, I said this earlier. I think it was in reference to what we were talking about. East London Kim has joined. Becky Louise Thompson has joined. Jamie Danko 100 has joined. Welcome, everybody. I'm really not good at reading the comments, so I'm going to go back to our conversation. And what I'm going to move on to now, we'll still keep talking about. It's an open discussion. So
can I ask you a question?
Yes, Coach.
Let's talk about briefly, and I want you to go into this. What have been your biggest obstacles in having a positive mindset to actually make the law of attraction work for you? Because I've had those battles on a subconscious level, the self-doubt, the lack of confidence in what I'm trying to manifest. And I want to ask you, have you dealt, for those people that want to implement the law of attraction in their lives, but they're like, I had that issue, I had that self-esteem, I have these other barriers and blocks in front of me. How do I get around that? So I've gained a lot from you from discussing this with you, and you've inspired me. So I just want to ask you, how do you, if you're trying to implement that law of attraction, but yet you have like that voice of self-doubt and all of these things going on in your head, how do you battle that? How do you overcome that?
So, in regards to the first part of your question, my biggest block was me. It was myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that I am capable, well, I know that I'm fully capable of great things. I know that I have an authentic energy. I know that my heart is clean and my intentions are pure. So anything I do comes from a good place. But sometimes I just feel like I question myself and I question the situation when I know that in my mind's eye that I can do it. I know that I've seen it. I've seen it. It's happened. And me living now and manifesting what, like, as soon as I've manifested something, I'm like, I take a deep breath and I'm like, but I knew it was going to happen, but I stressed myself out so much
Mm-hmm.
along the journey. I don't know why I do that to myself. It's getting less and less as I get older and wiser and I get more in touch with, but I just feel like I have been my biggest block. But I've come to the point where like my life is a journey anyway, but like my journey, I'm an empath. I identify as INFJ personality. I think I was telling you yesterday. So I have a lot of empathy for the world, and because I have a lot of empathy for the world, it 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 encourages me, and it almost makes it my birthright to do good things, to help people, to put good energy out there, to make a difference. And I just think that if you want the law of attraction to work for you, because I've had conversations, with like I do online sessions with people, and I've had like, one of my clients turned around and said to me, it's not working for me. I've written it down on a piece of paper. I've wanted it. I've closed my eyes. I've meditated on it. I've prayed on it. And it's still not happening, because you have to let go of the notion of the wanting and the needing. You have to put that thought out there, and then you have to just let it go. Just let it go. Carry on with your life. Carry on with your daily business, and just allow it to manifest and flow naturally. The universe only ever gives us what we need, essentially. So sometimes when we're trying to manifest certain things and it's not happening, it's not working, sometimes that is the universe's intervention. The universe is saying, no, this is not for you. This is not for you, and I'm not going to give you what's not for you. And then sometimes when you do persist and you push and you push and you push, the universe might grant it to you, and then you might find out it's not what you really wanted. So then you have to change course. So my advice to other people would be to just relax, just think the thought, put it out there into the universe, and relax. Let
Mm.
the universe do its work. Because one thing that you always have to remember, like I was telling you, I think I showed you last night, I've got this deck of cards. The universe has
Yeah,
your back.
yeah.
And I would literally encourage anybody. The universe has your back, by Gabrielle Bernstein. And I would encourage people to get these kind of decks, affirmation decks, super attractor, law of attraction decks, because they really, really do, they hold a lot of energy, and they really do teach you about how to actually relax into the universe. Because how many times have you wanted to manifest something and you've put yourself through so much stress, and then all of a sudden it happens, everything just clicks into place, and then you think to yourself, what the fuck was I stressing for? Do you know what I mean? But we still do it
Mm.
to ourselves. And that is because we might be spiritual beings, but we're still living a human experience. And a part of the
Yeah.
human experience, that's where the fear, the doubt, and it's about self-acceptance. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that would be my advice to anybody who is trying to make the law of attraction work for you. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
Very true. And when you look at the world that we live in, literally everything came from a thought. We don't perceive it as that way, but everything came from a thought. And I was having a conversation earlier, and the culture that we live in is future oriented. So everything is about the goal, and you have to work to get to the goal. And so your life is not really oriented around being in the present. And so I think the job for us as human beings is to find that equilibrium where I'm in the present and I'm enjoying the moment, but I can also make those goals for the future. Because I can't remember where I heard this quote, but it's like, we get depressed when we live in the past, and we get anxiety when we live in the future. And so the best place to be is in the present. And so a lot of times when we feel that anxiety towards the goal, we're not really being in the present moment. And that's where peace of mind is.
Yeah,
but
we're not
it'll lose
being
us so
true to
much.
ourselves.
Yeah, it'll lose us so much because we're in the future.
So
we're 5-10 years from now. And then here's the other thing. Yeah. How many times, I know I've done this, how many times have you, because of being future oriented, you come up with scenarios that never ever happen, and it causes you your anxiety.
Never ever happened.
Yeah, and it never happened. All of these wild scenarios that you have going on in your head, and none of them ever come to fruition. And you're like, damn, why was I even sweating that?
I always think when that happens, I just think the devil is a liar. Trust me, the devil is a big liar. I'm just gonna read through some of these comments. It's so hard. I don't know how Sticky does this. I'm actually gonna commend him. It hurts my soul to do that, but I'm gonna do it. DJ Empress is saying yes, Chids, true words. Right, Chids. We've got Peely saying a whole other level of materialism. And I think that was in some regards when I was talking about the materialistic way of being. Sticky, I think I've lost the comments, you know. I actually have lost the comments. I actually swiped across. So anybody who did comment kind of messed up there. But I'm not Sticky. I can't do it, Hoyt. It's like, you know, I will give that.
No, you got this.
I'm going to give them this prop. I've got this. I have got this. It's very, very hard to, like, and I'm good at multitasking, but it's hard to have a deep conversation with somebody and read the comments. So I kind of swiped across, and I'm sorry. But I'm back now. But for anything, I know that there's good energy in those comments. And that was another thing when the podcast was created. I was vigilant about the energy that I was going to put into it and the things that we were going to talk about. I wanted things to be open. I wanted things to be free. I wanted to give people a voice. And I know that Ashley was right there, and he stands for so many things. When my connection with Ashley in terms of law of attraction is I saw certain things in him. He had a message to give. Sticky, I saw certain things in him. He's got empathy. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I just think that when you're building something, you've got to be very vigilant about the energy that you put into it. And then I was like, I had a bit of anxiety about it, and I thought, oh my God, what are people going to think, and who's going to watch it, and what are they going to say? And do you know, for me, the people in the comments, they are love. They're such a loving energy. They understand us and they get it. And they, even if they don't, they still try to understand it. And the support has just been immense and beautiful. And I just want to put that out there in terms of energy, because I found, as I was saying to you last night, that I found being an empathetic person, I've attracted a lot of energy vampires throughout my life. And it's been quite, throughout certain times of my life and certain stages of my personal development, it's been quite painful. It has been painful because I feel everything that people are going through. I've learned to observe and not absorb now, but I still feel. It doesn't stop me from feeling. And I think sometimes I say this in the most humblest of ways, I think sometimes when you've got an understanding energy about you and you show love and you show kindness, people, they either take advantage of that or they take you for granted, or, as we were talking about yesterday, there comes that element of imitation. And we were saying that there's a quote, imitation is flattery. I can't remember the rest of it, but it was really not.
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness.
Yes, that was it.
But here's another thing. It's are you familiar with like the ages like in Hinduism, like the yugas?
Yes.
So according to that particular timeline in those epochs, we're in Kali Yuga right now. And as people people can Google this, but Kali Yuga is essentially like the age of materialism. It's spiritually dead. We're focused on superficial issues. It's considered a dark age, right? That precedes the upcoming golden age. But I say that to say this: you're a healer. That's how you have to look at that. You're essentially a healer. Now, I remember we were talking and I was like, I don't know if I consider myself an empath, but I have attracted people that could be considered spiritual vampires into my life because I have that understanding ear. I truly am trying to understand your pain and your plight. To give you a story, when I was in kindergarten, my kindergarten teacher, I'll never forget this, she actually told my parents, and this is something I used to do, if I was in class with another kid and they got hurt and they started crying, I would start crying with them. Don't know why I would do that, but that was just like a habit I had, and I think it manifested over the years to truly trying to understand and help abet somebody with curing their own pain. But then herein lies the problem. Because we're in a dark age, if you adhere to the yugas, because we're in a dark age, your tool of benevolence can be seen as a point of vulnerability by those that have these spiritually broken people that are looking for somebody to have a parasitic relationship with. So this thing that you use to navigate life as an empath and and to heal others is seen as a tool of exploitation. People feel like they can take advantage. People feel like they can suck off of your life's energy. And as we talked about, what we cannot do, because if you look at the world, think about it like this. We're a country that elected Donald Trump, right? Look at the state of the world. Look at the way things are. People that naturally have that empathy, people that consider themselves empaths, what we have to do is to not let this world change us. Because if you believe in duality, the yin and the yang, the good and evil, then we have to maintain that equilibrium. We have to stand strong and make sure that we continue to put our love out into the world. We continue to be healers, but we're not going to be naive. We're going to vet the sort of company that comes into our cipher. We're going to vet the sort of people that we expose parts of ourselves to, because we have to do that. You have to set up the boundaries and you have to protect yourself at the same time.
Yes, of course. I totally agree. I totally agree. I'll go into that in a second. I'm just going to quickly read through some of these comments. Peely85 says Sticky has a small attention span. It helps him. I'm done. Welcome, Grow. I think it's Grow this Take or Tacit. I think it's Tacit. I don't want to. Sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. DJ Empress is laughing at Peely. Milan says, trust Peely, that's why he doesn't give his opinion more time. I'm so done. They just go in at Sticky, to be honest. Grow this packet says, amen, it's a long game. Yes, it really is. Peely says, energy vampires draining as hell. Yes, and yes. Sticky's making notes. And Brina says, that's what I'm trying to master, learning instead of absorbing. And it's difficult. It is difficult to learn and not absorb, just to collect information, because when you're a loving person or you've got empathy or understanding, you do take on other people's shit. It's just like an automatic thing. And I think with me, in terms of energy, like, I try not to judge people. Like, do you get me? I don't go out on my way to judge people. And I think one of the things with me is I always look at people and I will see them as their highest self. Even if they are like, they could have trash energy, but I'll dig deeper and I'll try and have a level of understanding, or I'll always try and work out why a person is that way. Why are you the way that you are? Because everyone's got a story and everyone is who they are because there's a reason behind it. And I just think I always try to look at my life and what I've been through, and I don't ever consider myself a victim of any kind of circumstance. I believe that everything happens for a reason. The universe puts everything in place. I believe that even before we're a thought, even before we even manifest into human beings, our life has been mapped out for us. And no matter what you do, you can't change the course of that. What is for you will always be for you. I believe that we choose everything that we go through. So I try not to judge. I mean, when it comes to, like, severe things, pedophiles, rapists, and murderers, like, that's different, isn't it? Like, that's mad. But when it comes to people who have just, they might have made mistakes. Nobody's perfect because perfect doesn't exist. But when it comes to people just making, losing their way in life or making mistakes or whatever and stuff, I always try to have empathy for it and understanding. That's why the things I get mad about, like I find myself when I do get angry, is more based on lack of understanding and lack of empathy and lack of regard. That's something that it burns my soul when people have lack of all those things. And I understand we have to protect ourselves and protect our own energy, but we also have to be vigilant of other people's energy as well. And we have to be vigilant of other people's feelings and emotions. I think we live in such a society that is very disconnected from love and empathy and all those things. I always say, the feminine energy, like I'm not a feminist or anything. I believe in both, I respect both masculine and feminine energy because I possess both. And mine's very balanced. I'm very duality. But I just think, that the masculine energy of the world has a lot to answer for. We do possess more. There's a lot of healers out there, both male and female and stuff. But I think sometimes where that feminine energy comes in, it doesn't have to come in a form of a woman. It's just where that feminine energy comes in. That's where the empathy lies. That's where the understanding lies. And that's where the love lies, because the feminine energy, it nurtures, whereas the masculine energy takes control, gets things done. He's always moving fast, doesn't think, doesn't stop, doesn't absorb love as an energy. I think the masculine energy does that quite later on. And I was talking to a really close friend of mine yesterday, and she was saying about relationships and stuff. I think sometimes this is why I think the feminine energy evolves past the masculine energy, if you like. I think it evolves, or not that it, let me rephrase that, not that it evolves past it, but it evolves at a faster rate because the feminine energy is nurturing and it is empathetic. So I think if a lot of people realize that the world needs more healers, more teachers, more people who are going to put knowledge out there and going to make a difference, if they realize that is what we need instead of, superstars and fast cars and all that bullshit, then the world would actually be a much more nicer place, and it would be a lot more calm, and the energy of the world wouldn't be as aggressive as it is. And I think we are getting there. Whether we live to see that ultimate change, I don't know. But I know we are getting there, because I feel like the next generation, there is a lot of empathy there. So I think if it's about tapping in and just sort of learning the art of happiness and learning about your love languages and learning about how to be of service or how to give words of affirmation. That's what I think it's about.
All of those. And I think it's a return to the archaic. These things that we're talking about is coming back full circle. We went through all of these different stages. And I think one of the problems, like we're talking about the feminine principle and then we're talking about the masculine principle. I think the issue with the masculine principle as well is that it's a misaligned masculine principle. And so when things, and I like to look at us as a collective energy. I don't like to just look at us as individuals. I look at what affects me is happening to you at the same time. And what's going on in Palestine is going on here, because we're all part of the same ecosystem. We're all part of the same tapestry of atoms, right? And so if I look at it that way, then what I want is I want a healthy masculine principle and I want a healthy feminine principle. But herein lies the problem. In our society, and this has happened, and what I've argued is that over different stages of history, we see the domination of the feminine principle. We see the domination of women. One of the things I love to quote is that in the Bible, it talks about, God creating Adam and Eve. But then when you study the Hebrew, like I'm not fluent in biblical Hebrew or like can write it backward and forward, but I took a history of the Old Testament class. And this is something that caught my eye. So I think it's in Genesis, I forgot what chapter, but it says God created man and woman and called them the Adama or the Adamatsu of the earth, of the dark soil. And in Hebrew, Adam, what we call Adam is actually Ish, and then Eve will be Isha. What caught me about that is the woman wasn't even given a designated name. Her name was based off of being taken out of the male. And when you study a lot of languages, a woman's, what we call or what we designate the individual that has an XX chromosomes, they never have their own terminology. It's always based off of the man or the masculine principle. And so what we have to get to is that a lot of times we make anything feminine synonymous with being weak, but that's not the case, because femininity can kill you. Like you look at some of the Orishas, like you look at Oshun or Yemaya, if you piss any of them off, they can take you out. There's no game, you know, but we look at femininity, we don't recognize the strength in femininity. We don't recognize the power in femininity. We recognize the power in masculinity because it's in your face, it's aggressive. It's the doggy dog concept. And so we pay reference to that. I'm sorry?
You know what? Like when you said that, something like really, it really stood out to me. So like I was saying to you is like, obviously I'm a duality. So my sign is duality. I'm a Gemini star sign, you know, zodiac sign wise. I'm a Gemini. So I possess
second best zodiac sign. Second best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taurus is number one.
I'll let you have that one because I'm on the cusp, so it's fine. But so I possess like, you know, masculine and feminine energy. And I find that especially like when I'm around men and stuff, I really have to push my masculine energy in order to get respect, in order to do certain things. And it's like, you know, I'm a strong woman. I know I'm a strong woman. I got my shit on lock. I got shit handled, but that doesn't mean that you can dismiss my femininity. Do you know what I'm saying? Or it doesn't mean that you can draw me up to the point where I have to use my masculine energy. A male friend of mine, the other day, I must have messaged him a certain way. And he said, he took offense to it because it was quite masculine. And he said, no, don't speak to me like that. Do not demean yourself. You are a queen. You have queen energy. And you are of a goddess descent. Why are you even speaking to me like that? Don't do that. And you know what? First of all, I was so upset. And he told me to go and heal from it, And I was so upset, But then I actually looked at him and I deeped it for what it is. And I was like, he's right. And this is because I've been forced as a woman, and I would say as a Black woman too, also, is to, you know, to portray this strong Black woman, you know, this stereotype when, like, yes, I am a strong Black woman, but why should I have to fight? And why should I have to always push that out in order to be seen or in order to be heard? I should be able to use and exercise my feminine energy in order. You want me to be nice to you, but then you're not treating me accordingly until I draw you out, with my masculine energy, and then you come correct. And then you expect me to come down again. It's not about coming down. I believe the masculine and energy are both in balance. They're like this. This is how masculine and feminine energy are for me. They're not like this or like this. They should be in alignment. And I think that I'm finding that as I get older and I lean more into my spirituality and acceptance of who I am aligning with, you know, feminine and masculine energy alike, but I'm aligning with those who are in alignment with me. I don't have to fight or prove anything or do anything in order to express either my masculine or feminine energy. And it is such a beautiful journey. I'm going to just quickly read a couple of these comments. Growth, this Tackett says, big facts, this is beautiful. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Brina says spiritual vampires. Yeah, spiritual vampires are different.
Big time.
Peely's saying, don't concentrate too hard, Sticky. Derpy vampires, DJ Headpress says. Milan said, oh my God, I find it hard to cry for myself, but if someone else is crying, mate, get me a bucket. Milan, that's the empathy in you. Trust me, that's the empathy.
Indeed.
Brina says, me too, Milan. DJ Empress says, Sticky, that's why your head's big. Your head's big, can't store info. I am so done. Welcome, Miss V. Welcome, Sheer Myra. That's my cousin in real life.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, that's my cousin. You will meet her. You'll actually meet her next week when she's on. Peely says it can send you into a terrible downward spiral when you take on everyone's issues, and it really can. Cher says, my cousin Yana. Cher saying facts. Chidi says, they say, don't try and rescue everyone. You could be interrupting their karma. Sit back and observe. Woo! That's a deep one. That's so true. People are saying, hey, share, missed you. They're all having like some conversation and talking the things. Welcome, NG Bance. He says, everyone, sorry I'm late. But for those who are late, and it's good, quite a few people have joined. I can't do Sticky. I can't do Sticky. Sticky's just, he's way too much. Sticky, I don't like how many times I'm seeing your name in the comments, you know. Peely's saying, so hostile, go meditate, Sticky. Yeah, Sticky, go meditate, man. Seriously. But there's loads of comments. But I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna touch on what Brina says. We get forced into that strong Black woman narrative all the time and forced to spend more time in masculine energy, and then we and more than we would in a different environment. She says that she gets offended when a mate friend commended me for my strength yesterday. Yeah, and that's another thing. Don't keep. I just think, you know, it's people think it's a compliment when they're commending women on their strength and stuff, but we can't be strong all the time. Sometimes, I'm not saying it's weakness, but I think being vulnerable is a superpower. It's such there lies so much strength in being vulnerable. But I think because of the society that we live in, we've been led to believe that now you have to be strong. Now you have to stand up and you have to face things, even if it's with tears in your eyes. And I don't know how many times I have confronted things, even with tears in my eyes, because I know that I have to push and keep going. Yes, I do know that, but sometimes I do just need a hug, innit? Sometimes I do just need a hug. Sometimes the energy is a bit too intense and it's too much. So yeah man, I think people need to. I think masculine and feminine energy it's a very big thing. But sorry, Hoyt, go on.
Oh no. You were speaking a lot of truth. It's interdependent, and the problem right now is that I read an article, and then I saw a documentary. I don't know if you saw this back in the day, back in 2008. You remember the Zeitgeist movie?
Yes. Oh my God, that was wicked. Yeah.
Yeah. So the guy that made that movie, his name is Peter Joseph, and I have like one of his books. And I look at some of his TED Talks, and he cited an article, and I went and looked it up for myself, and you can Google this. And it said that people that made over $1 million, they took like these millionaires, right? And they had them like look at pictures. Like one was like a few pictures were just like people looking normal. And then gradually people started to be like sad or have like subtle signs of depression or angst in their face. And then they had another group of like non-millionaires, common, everyday working people. And so when they showed the photos to the regular people, they were able to point out the depression, the angst, the pain. And remarkably, all of the rich people could not pick up on the signs of depression and angst in the faces of people that they were shown. And so essentially what Peter Joseph was talking about in the study concluded is that at a certain point of wealth, almost, you have to develop tendencies of a sociopath to really shoot up. Because if you look at a lot of the people that we praise, the billionaires and stuff around the world, if you look at their psychological profile, it's very much akin to the classifications of what would make someone a sociopath. And the problem with this world that we live in is that aggression, malevolence, is all praised if it's the ends that justify the means. So you could be an asshole, you could stab people in the back, set people up to get fired, but if you're able to make the bag at the end of the day, it's justifiable. And the problem with that is that's masculine energy misaligned. That's masculine energy in a state of sickness. And I think honestly, one of the things that's going on right now that I like is that we are aware of the negativity. Some people call it toxic masculinity. I have my own perspectives on that too, which I'm not going to get into on this particular episode. But what I'm telling people is that make sure that you check your language, check your words, Because whenever we want to disrespect each other, what's the first thing we do? We call the dude a bitch, or we call so-and-so, a pussy, all this stuff, right? Things associated with women. So it's already ingrained in our psyche that if the closer you are to femininity, the lesser of a man you are. But the reality is we're on spectrums, and that the further away we go, the more we come together when you go deeper in that spectrum. But we're in a society now where it's all about getting ahead. It's all about what can I do to step over the next man? And a lot of times people make that behavior synonymous with masculinity. But masculinity, in my opinion, it's like if you look at, for example, like you look at leadership, being decisive, and then real masculinity is going to embrace people, because you have to embrace your people, your tribe. If you want to consider yourself an alpha male, you have to also show traits of empathy as well. And so, I think, and listen, let me preface this real quick, and I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm not anti-capitalist. Let me put that out there first. But what I will say is that I think the nature of this monetary system has a whole hell of a lot to do with the way in which we think and in which we operate, and in the way we treat women as well. And so I think the fact that you're rewarded, the more that you can kind of step over people, and it's justified as, like people say, hey, it's just business, don't take it personal. And you could do something heinous to somebody, but you'll just say, hey, it's just business. And that's really cold and callous. So, I'm glad that we're in a point of spiritual awakening. Also, I think the fact that more and more people, like Johns Hopkins University, they did a study on psilocybin mushrooms, and it showed to have a positive effect on PTSD. It showed to have a positive effect on depression. And so a lot of now is getting popular to, engage in these plant medicines, cannabis, ayahuasca, DMT. And I think that's also going to play a role in the spiritual awakening as well, and bring it back that equilibrium of masculine and feminine energy.
Definitely. I know we touched on Terence McKenna last night. Anybody who don't know about Terence McKenna, go Google him, go look him up. I'm not telling people to go out there and munch a few mushrooms, like do your thing in it.
No, please.
I'm not telling people to do that. I'm not telling people to go and take DMT, because we possess DMT naturally in our bodies. I'm not telling anyone to do any kind of psychedelics, disclaimer. But seriously, if you get like any spare time, go and read the guy's books. The guy is so on point. He's onto something, and he's always been onto something.
Can I interject something really? Can I interject something really quick? You can Google this. Okay, I'm gonna be really quick. Okay, super quick. There's actually a form of meditation. It's a form of Tibetan meditation. Some people claim that you can reach higher states like you would in the psychedelic trance through this form of meditation. Just go and Google like Tibetan meditation / psychedelics. And, you have, and even people that do yoga, like hot yoga, they claim to have a high after the class. So you can have this endogenous effect naturally. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I've done. I meditate. I started meditating about 7 years ago, and I've held a deep meditation, and it's quite frightening. I was like, shit. I felt like I left my body. It was crazy, but it was euphoria. It was beautiful. But that's just a whole other topic. But no, in terms of energy, I'll just, in close, I will say in terms of energy, I think that if we can have more empathy for each other, support, love, those kind of things, I think that the world will be a better place. And it sounds cliche, but it genuinely would if we supported each other. And I posted something the other day saying basically, if we see all that love that we give to all these celebrities that don't even know that we exist yet, if we gave that love to our own people and we supported their shit, and did, the things that we're actually supposed to do, then how many people would actually be like successful quicker? Because do you know what? You can put the work in and you can do everything. But if you haven't got that support, if you haven't got people kind of supporting you, and your own people are against you, or they're watching you and they're hating on you, and the evil eye is looking at the screen and going, look what they, all that, it lowers the vibration. We as human beings, or we as spiritual beings live in this human experience. I believe, that we need to raise the vibration, and that is the ultimate goal for me. If I can help raise the vibration, as I told you before, my ass is winning. I'm winning.
Yeah.
I will die happy. Do you get me? And say, yeah, I played my part. I need to go through some of these comments quickly before we even wrap. Right. I need to go all the way back. So, there's so many. NG Bant says, I caught replying to the comments. DJ Empress says, I can't stick Alicious. I'm just out here. Sticky sticking his fingers up. Very nice, Sticky. Cher's saying, woo, preach, that's deep. Peely says, so hostile, go meditate, Sticky. Some wise words, Milan says, that's so true, Hoyt, says Peely. Brina says, I'm so glad this is being recorded. And me too, I can't wait to watch it back, Hoyt.
Yeah, same here.
DJ Sticky Fingers says, I'm with Hoyt, Taurus is number one. Be quiet. Yeah, it's funny how
number
Sticky's
one.
not hard, but he's making the most noise. This is crazy. But it's so nice that him and Milan in the comments and share. DJ Empress says Virgo is the best. I'm going to agree with that because my daughter's a Virgo. Milan says yes, Chid. Peely says good, calm down. Yes, Chid, it scared him. Cher says that's why a balance of feminine and masculine is so important on both sides. Brina says we get forced into the strong Black woman narrative. I think I read that because I tried to skip it to kind of come down. DJ Empress says if there is no balance, then people will take advantage of the weak side. Brina says I had to explain that it hasn't been a choice. I stay strong or I break. Yes, Brina, I feel you, and I'm sending you love always. Brina says I'm tired. Laugh out loud. NG Band says, boy, that's some truth. Healy says, you're doing great, Chiz. Thank you so much. I thank you so much. And do you know what? I actually even set an alarm as well on my Alexa because that's how I was just so afraid of kind of running out of time. But I just want to end by saying thank you to all the beautiful people in the comments. Thank you for all the people who support the True Talk podcast page and the YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will upload and edit this episode. And yeah, Hoyt, as always, it's been amazing. You're going to be back with us next week, yeah?
Yeah.
It's last week's conversation. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a blessing, a privilege, and I'm honored to be a part of what you guys are doing. And y'all got to come on the No Truths Barred podcast too. So we're gonna make that happen as well.
I'm coming over with my glasses. Yeah, I'm gonna wear some dark glasses like I'm cool. But I just want to say thank you again, and I just want to send peace, love, and light to everyone that's watching. Whatever you're doing, like just keep going and keep pushing. Literally, you're making a difference to somebody's life, and you're making a difference to your own life. The law of attraction is real, and I will end and say again, if you can see it in your mind, then you can hold it in your hand. So namaste, sending love, and thank you so much.